Hello and welcome to Season of War. We have Ryan back here today for another Age of Sigmar battle report, bringing your Tzeentch back, this time to face my Lumineth. We're playing focal points today in the realm of hysh, so all the terrain is nullification, and the command point is a 6-up Feel No Pain, wholly within 12 of a hero. You just choose one unit, and that's pretty much the most of it. The spell is to make your other spellcasters +1 to cast endless spells. Not the most impactful. You have no endless spells, I have one, but we'll get into that after list building. So why don't we go ahead and roll off for deployment, and we'll talk about our list afterwards. That is, yeah, cocked. So 4, 3. Yep, so Lumineth dropping first, and we'll come back after deployment. All right, we've just finished deployment, but I just want to take a moment to say a big thank you to everyone that's supported and watched our content so far. Obviously been getting a great response and great feedback and discussions in the comments, so thank you to everyone. Continually working to improve and make things better, obviously with a couple set improvements, so hopefully things look a little better. But just again, yeah, just want to say thank you again. If you can subscribe or like and share the video, it obviously helps us a ton. So thank you in advance. But on to the game.
Yes, indeed.
Ryan, you finished deployment first.
All right, so I'm running Tzeentch Host Arcanum. And for those that don't know what any Tzeentch does other than Eternal Conflagration, this one's the flying themed one. So Screamers become battle line. As you can see, I have several of them. I'm running the army in a Changehost configuration. The only two units not in Changehost are my Magister here and this unit of Brimstones. Other than that, I've got 3 units of Screamers. They do Screamer things. I've got the Herald and Chariot, or whatever it's called. I think it's a Fateskimmer. Yeah. He's also rocking the item that allows him to summon 6 Screamers during my hero phase. I've got 2 units of Blues, and as I mentioned, the unit of Brims. All right, I've got my Magister here. He's rocking Glimpse the Future spell. And then I have a unit of 9 Flamers with their Exalted Flamer buddy. Kairos Fate Weaver knows Bolt of Tzeentch.
Okay, cool. Well, I am playing the Great Nation of Syar, which means I'll get 2 Aether Courts for each of my units instead of just 1. And for a command point, I can spend an extra one each phase, potentially, if I want to. For my units, I have 3 units of Wardens, just straight 10s, 3 units of Sentinels. The Wardens all know the spell Lambent Light. My 3 units of Sentinels all know the spell Ethereal Blessing. I have a unit of Dawn Riders, and then my Cathallar General back here. the Dawn Riders and the Cathallar both know the spell Speed of Hysh. Obviously, Teclis knows the entire both spell lores. I'm running Umbral Spell Portal, but I'm not running Cogs today. And I also dropped the battalion. What that allowed me to do is bring in Eltharion, who I had some fun with in my last game. So we'll see if he can, chop up some demons today. Otherwise, that's going to be my list. Obviously, Teclis is kind of the big focal point, as is Kairos for you. So this will be a very interesting magic off. So you're going to have choice of how this game starts.
Yeah. Well, first I got to move D3 units up to 6 inches.
Okay.
That's the command ability on the chariot, which is useless after the first turn.
Pre-game move.
Yeah, 1, of course, 1.
So 1 unit.
I was hoping to get 2 units of Screamers forward. But can't always get what you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I'm gonna go first.
I thought from your setup and with the move, actually, I was expecting you to, but having choice, obviously, or not having choice is significant, and you'll be able to get in before my buffs are up. So
that's the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really hoping to get both of these units forward so they both could do a slash, because they are really good at slashing magicians. So.
Yep. And I don't have my 5-up field of paint, so
I know I want to do as much damage as I can before that.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
All
so
right.
We'll go into top of round 1 with Tzeentch going first.
All right. right, end of Tzeentch Battle Round 1. It was quite the round. Magic was pretty non-existent. Basically, I was too afraid of Teclis's Mortal Wounds bounce back, so I did some null casting and got 2 fate points, but no effects of any spells happened. That said, it was a very good turn for me. I used the Changehost to teleport my hero over there and then uses Fanged Circlet, which proceeded to summon 6 Screamers that went slamming into Teclis, and they rolled pretty well, and Teclis really forgot how to make armor saves, so he took 10 wounds.
And even at the +1 to save, he was down to 3, so offset their rend, and he still took 10 damage, which hurt. And then you also, on your movement...
Oh yeah, I sliced up the
You took 6 guys off here, just on your movement, which is big.
Yeah, so these Screamers have done work. Just for reference, they had Rend because of the command ability off of the Horror. Other than that, the Flamers opened up like champs and deleted 2 units of
2 units
Archers,
of Sentinels.
which I think is a devastating blow, or at least I hope it's a devastating blow. And then there was some other chip damage that went in. I killed a Spearman here. I killed 2 Spearmen there. Other than that, I'm holding my 2 objectives, which are worth a point each. And then I've got the 2-point middle one with +1 because I've got my monster nearby. So I had a 5-point turn.
Cool. My Cathallar made these guys immune to bravery, or immune to battle shock, sorry. And then I passed my battle shock here. These guys lost too. I would say it was probably a pretty critical blow. So I think this is a good example of a bad matchup for Lumineth. Being that all my stuff is wizards, your streamers alone are doing D3 on their slices. Your damage against Teclis, because he's a behemoth, went from 1 to D3.
Yep.
Obviously, even I have my turn and potentially the double turn. But the big thing is you have an auto unbind this round, which means I'm not going to get my Storm of Searing White Light spell off.
That's not entirely true. You could only cast one spell with Teclis.
That is true. I do have that option.
I mean, you lose the ability to have it up here from a spell portal. Or
I lose a bunch, but you're right. I do have that option of getting that off, but it's like one spell versus 4, obviously. Not that
Well, you're not getting 4 off.
No, for sure.
So
I could get 2 off for sure.
not necessarily, because I got the auto unbind.
Outside of the auto unbind, I could have gotten 2 off for.
Oh, right, yeah, that's fair.
On 12s, but yeah, I think I am going to be forced into that 1. Yeah, this is does not look good. We'll say that.
Right.
But we'll go into bottom of round 1, going into Lumineth's turn 1. They only have half of the army left, so we'll see.
I've been on the receiving at the end of.
Oh yeah, I mean,
before.
this happens. This is games. This is Warhammer, right?
Yeah.
We've had so many close games. Once in a while, you get a matchup like this where things get a little crazy.
The interesting thing about this one is we don't talk about what armies we're bringing, so I just happen to show up with 20 some odd screamers.
And I hadn't played Lumineth, especially with Teclis in a little bit, so I wanted to pull these guys out and run it with Eltharion. So, and it's also nice because I play a lot of tournaments. I build 4 tournaments, and that's kind of the parameters where I think about the game. Just because I love events. They're a lot of fun. And you never know what you're going to play. So you just walk up with your best list or whatever, and sometimes you'll get a bad matchup. And while it doesn't necessarily make for the most exciting battle reports, because it can end quickly, some games like this one, for example, I think will. But I think it's so important to show these matches for people who are interested in events or play these armies or have someone, a friend that plays an opposing army. It's very insightful to see, what bad matchups look like or what extreme cases of like 2 magic heavy armies that people have been talking about. But obviously puts me in a really tough position in terms of trying to come back in this game. But I'm going to take my turn, see what I can do, and then see what round 2 brings us.
Sounds good.
We'll go into bottom of round 1, Lumineth Realmlords.
All right.
All right, so just finished up my turn with Lumineth. Obviously in a tough position and trying to make the best of it. Magic-wise, I just was doing Powers of Hysh. I knew I was going to have to kill a lot of stuff this turn. So I was more focused on damage rather than defense. So I used my one cast for Storm of Syrian White Light. Barely did, did 6 wounds total to your 4 units that got hit. So not very significant. Wardens moved up in position to charge. The Dawn Riders have Speed of Hysh on them, so they moved across the board to try and threaten an objective. In hindsight, I could have probably actually gone over to that one and wouldn't have had to worry about... I could have taken that one more easily. I think would have been the better choice, actually, in hindsight. Eltharion moved up. Obviously, they got all their charges off. Eltharion blew up a unit, and my other activation at the start was into these guys, killing some. Your Blue Horrors took out 2 of the Dawn Riders, which hurt because it was less damage back, and that caused you to still have 5 guys remaining. If I had had another horse, that unit's probably gone, or another...
Yep.
But, again, like we were saying, it's not an impossible situation, but I am definitely dependent on the charge in this very tight spot. There's
I feel like this double turn's spicy, because if you get it, I don't think I'll have much army left.
Exactly. It puts you in a really tough position, and I'm potentially getting into your meat a little bit more. Your flamers are exposed. Potentially might be able to get into Kairos. So,
all right,
some stuff can happen, but yeah. I only scored 2 points because I was like 2 models off here and not killing them. I had to go for broke, right? So I went all in. I could have potentially gotten an extra. Sorry, I'll score 3 because of Teclis. He gives me an extra point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I'm only down 2, but this would have tied us. That would have put me 2 ahead, which would have been super powerful, especially with the potential of the double. 5. You win ties. 6.
I'm taking it.
So we'll go into Tzeentch turn 2 at the top of round 2.
All right. So end of the second turn for Tzeentch. It was an interesting turn. I whiffed all my casting. He hardly had to even cast Unbinds. It's amazing when Big Bird rolls a 1 and a 2.
I did have the auto Unbind.
Yeah, the one thing I successfully cast, he auto Unbind. Yeah. My Screamers tried to do some glorious slash moves. All of them whiffed. The slashing output was nada. That said, the Flamers opened up on Teclis and ended his life. The Exalted Flamer opened up on the Spearmen, chipped away at them. The Blue Horrors decided to be snipers and chipped off way more than they thought they should. I think they killed 4 on their own. Other than that, my Brimstones here just backed up. I created a nice big perimeter all around of defenses so that even if he gets the double turn, it's going to limit what he can do. I plopped units on every single objective, so I took all 5 objectives. And then finally the Screamers charged into the Spearmen and rolled a lot of 3s. So not a single Spearman died, and then in return the Spearmans killed a Screamer, but it's okay. Screamers have
Pass
the
the battle
objective.
shock.
And yeah, they're fine with the battle shock. So we're going into
bottom of round 2.
Yeah, the next Lumineth turn here. I think I'm in a very strong position.
You also stored all 5 objectives, and then the extra point with your big bird put you at 9 points for the round. So it's currently 14-3.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a strong position.
Oh, and for the first time ever, the Magister killed.
There's a slim chance I can pull myself back into it if I take enough stuff out. Obviously, very slim. I have almost no casting left. But there's going to be some stuff I can try and do.
Yep.
So we'll do the best we can and just see what kind of tricks we can pull out from our end. We'll go into bottom of round 2, Lumineth turn 2. All right, so just finished my turn 2. Again, killed a decent amount of stuff with very little, but your stuff is super squishy, so there's no surprise there. Eltharion took out a unit of Blooths and half the Brims, and then the last 5 Brims ran away. Here, you managed to take out 2 of those guys. The last one ran away. I didn't clear enough, so you keep this objective. And my archers moved over here to give me these 2, storing me just 3 points for the round. It's obviously not looking good at all. I would have loved to take this one also. I did manage to kill 4 flamers though throughout your turn. And pretty much I think my last chance is taking this priority roll and just, I don't even know. It's just, I'm just trying, I have to kill you. I have to kill stuff. Or else it'll take me out and I have to get points. It's just, there's a lot to ask right now and very little resources to do anything with. So we'll do a priority roll.
I got a 4.
I got a 5, so we'll see how much more I can do and if I can keep myself from getting put in the ground.
Let's see what you got.
So yep, we'll go into the top of round 3. Lumineth going first. All right, so again, just trying to do as much as I can with what little is left. Cleared the Screamers over here. Eltharion piled in and killed the Flamers. The 3 Dawn Riders went in, but actually just got destroyed. Yeah, I killed 1 Screamer over here to take this objective. So I'll store 4 points this round. Putting me 10 to your 14. Sounds a lot closer, but that's because you haven't had your turn yet this round.
Yeah.
And this is where we assume that the elves are going to get put down. So we'll
see what happens.
Hold on as best we can and see if we're still standing after your turn.
Sounds good.
So finished Tzeentch turn 3.
Yeah, so it was another spectacular collapse of my magic abilities. Tzeentch has forgotten about the powers of magic. Fortunately, my Brimstones have brought the pain.
Yeah.
And they killed Eltharion in the shooting phase after my chariot squished him up a little bit. So they sniped him out.
Chariot did 3 mortals flying by.
Yep. Then in the combat phase, the Brims continued their cataclysmic effort and killed the sole remaining spearman.
Yeah.
Kairos backed off. He has done nothing at all this game, but he's been tinkering and he's got plans. The Exalted Flamer roasted some Sentinels. Everybody else is kind of spread out.
Yeah.
I tried to fold reality my 1 big unit of Screamers. That was the 1 spell I successfully cast, and I promptly rolled a 1 and destroyed the unit. So I got a fate point, but bringing me up to 9 fate points for the game, so I cannot summon.
Yeah.
So I'm coming out of the turn. I took 3 objectives, puts me in a kind of commanding lead, and
just points wise. So it was 14 to 10, so now it's 19 to 10. And after your turn, killing Eltharion. Eltharion is pretty much my last hope at anything. So now that he's dead, I think it's fair that we're going to call it here. Just because I can't get enough points back on the board to really make a game of it at all. But it did last a little longer than I expected it to. I think after my turn 1, I actually, if I had have gotten the double turn there, would have had a good play at coming back and getting back in the game in a strong position.
Yeah, I think you would have won, because I think a second full power strength, you would have wiped out too much stuff. Because like even if it stands, there's not a wild difference in power on the board. Yeah, I've got Kairos, so that's the big difference. Like, we basically beat each other to death pretty good. The difference is I was able to zip around and get more points than you, so you can't come back.
Yeah, I think I didn't really, honestly, I didn't deploy necessarily expecting you to take first. Thinking about your army, I think I should have been prepared for you to take first. Especially like you having the teleport, you get to move those guys 16, so you have a 3 charge. Again, didn't really fear them, but they swung way above their weight class and got 10 wounds on Teclis, which was huge. So I got pretty unlucky there. Obviously, they were also doing D3, right, because he was a behemoth. So knowing the extra damage they do against Teclis, I think I needed to be more careful there. I could have sat some Sentinels back further, but then you're just killing the Wardens and...
Yeah, I think this is a good matchup for the Screamer Force. We didn't really see the slashing to its potential. I rolled really well with Flamers and and horror attacks, but my Screamers, other than the big charge onto Teclis, more or less whiffed everything they did. But in your average game, I'd expect way more mortal wounds out of them on Lumineth, but probably not 10 wounds on the charge against Teclis. So probably balanced out in that regard. But yeah, I mean, Kairos was if he cast his spells, he would have been devastating to you. But I've rolled 4 spells.
It helps that, especially turn 1, I was unbinding it +1, so I got a bunch of unbinds. But then turn 2, turn 3,
you didn't have to unbind Kairos.
Exactly,
he didn't succeed a single spell the whole game, I don't think, other than in the first turn when he was null casting.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's going to be obviously the major win for Tzeentch. So that's 2 wins now.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Lumineth here, I think, just had a tough uphill battle in this matchup. And obviously we saw the power of Tzeentch and the power of the Screamer build, which isn't something that a lot of people are talking about right now.
It's not as deadly against other armies, but against the units of wizards, that's so powerful.
And your hive movement, so you've got so much maneuverability with capturing. Obviously, I know the strength of fast MSU, playing in a lot of Deepkin, and you have a lot of play. And yeah, this was definitely a tougher matchup, but I actually was happy with how I was able to get back into the game to some extent. You don't really have that much. Obviously, Kairos is big, but anyways, able to take out a chunk, largely on the back of Eltharion. I honestly love him. He was my MVP of the game for sure.
He scares the crap out of me now.
he just goes through stuff. So he's great. Love seeing him on the board and just chopping stuff up. And yeah, so that's always fun. I definitely am going to include him in most of my Lumineth lists from here on out. He's a lot of fun. But yeah,
I'll be more scared of him. I wasn't that worried about him. I was like, oh, he's an on-foot hero. Most on-foot heroes in this game, don't hit that hard. Though even up in the upper realms, they're going to do 4 or 5 damage. I didn't expect to see 15 out of him in a charge. That was scary.
But yeah, just want to say a big thank you at the end of this game. To everyone that stuck around and watched this far. I'd love to hear your feedback again in the comments about kind of some of the improvements we've made, as well as the lists and what you thought of the battle. Yep. So yeah, look forward to talking to you guys in the comments. So cool. Thank you a ton, and we'll see you soon.